Hi everyone, Canoopsy here, and phone cameras in the last little while have evolved far beyond what we could ever even imagine. Every manufacturer tries something different. Some brands use dual cameras with telephoto or wide angle, some brands opt for a single camera and add software features, and some brands combine all of these things. The Huawei P20 Pro is kind of that phone. With a unison of quality hardware and advanced versatile software, this phone is currently the ultimate smartphone camera experience. But besides the cameras though, this phone is still a great overall device. It has excellent well-built hardware made of glass and aluminum, clean design and display, around a day and a half of solid battery life, and super fast performance. With Huawei phones of the past, software was always the biggest weakness for me, but here, things are a bit more refined. You still have everything and the kitchen sink installed for software features, but they're all things you can kind of put to the side and ignore if they're not really your thing. Additionally, customizing the phone with a launcher and icon pack also does wonders for the general visual appearance if you're just not really a fan. And personally, I'm honestly not, but a quick little session in Nova Launcher fixed things up for me right away. In the end, this is a standard 2018 flagship smartphone, notch and all. Nothing drastically different on the hardware or software side, but the camera experience makes this phone truly stand out from the rest. You're looking at 3 total cameras at the back, 8-megapixel telephoto camera up top, then 40-megapixel main camera in the middle, and 20-megapixel black and white mono camera at the very bottom. And up front, there's a 24-megapixel selfie camera, and this, in my opinion, is the weakest of the 4 total cameras, because it makes your face kind of look plastic-like at times, even with the beauty mode completely turned off. And don't even ask what happened here. But back to the rear camera setup, I've mainly been using it in the 40-megapixel mode that takes pictures at a resolution of 7296 by 5472. It doesn't use a telephoto zoom or the mono camera, but if you turn off 40 megapixels, you can actually get a 5 times loss the zoom that doesn't lose any real major quality as you would with pinching to zoom in. You are stepping down to 10 megapixels though, and the autofocus on the zoom camera isn't really as good as the main camera, but you can still get some pretty unique results. Also back to the 40 megapixel mode with all those pixels, you can actually just crop into shots that might not be perfectly framed and completely fix them with really no noticeable loss in quality. This phone also receives support from an artificial intelligence system that's built into the camera app that analyzes the shot and changes modes in real time. It does sometimes over-modify pictures with just too much saturation, too much contrast, and too much over-sharpening. If you find it to be a bit too overbearing like I did, you can also turn off the entire mode as well, which is also fine, giving you some pretty good results as well. So besides the regular mode, there are some other modes in the phone camera app as well. First is portrait mode, and as you'd expect, like every other phone that has this mode, it takes pictures with blurred backgrounds of people and objects, and this phone does a pretty good job. There's also the aperture mode, which is similar in concept to the portrait mode as it does blur backgrounds as well, but you can actually simulate aperture adjustments like on a real dedicated camera. You can go down to f.95 on this phone and get a super blurred background with some simulated realistic looking bokeh, and it looks great. You can also even capture video in this mode with simulated bokeh, and it's pretty cool, but pictures here are definitely the main star. The P20's night mode captures multiple shots within a few seconds and pieces them all together to create one final night shot. This mode is pretty incredible, allows you to take some really excellent shots in complete darkness with still lots of detail, clarity, and dynamic range. Even if you or things in the background kind of move or shift a little bit, it still creates a great final result. There's also a standard Pro mode for getting those even more elaborate control settings for pictures, and swiping over to the final tab called the More tab gives you even more modes. These are the kind of modes you won't be using really too often, like time-lapse, food, panoramas, those kind of things, but I wish they're a bit more easy to access overall, especially the key things like HDR and slow motion. The coolest of all these modes though is light painting. There's traffic, graffiti, star trails, and water, all letting you take those long exposure pictures you've always wanted to take but didn't really know how to set them up. You will need to prop up your phone with a tripod or stabilizer, and the phone does kind of the rest. It creates these type of shots in real time and the results are truly surprising. Many of the finished long exposure shots look super legit with some great details. To be honest, they're not really as polished as you'd actually get from a DSLR or mirrorless dedicated camera, but they are pretty damn close, and for sharing on social media, they're basically perfect, and they're right there on your phone, instantly to share. There's no extra apps, no extra hardware, it's just all built into the main camera's software. But the one thing that's a bit weak on this phone though is the video recording. It shoots in 4K and results do look kinda good, but the lack of any stabilization in 4K is a bit awful. You can basically fix this issue with a smartphone gimbal stabilizer like this one here from Zhiyun, the Smooth 4, but you have to actually buy this separately of course, but this does help you get those ultra smooth, super cinematic shots. I would have liked to have seen at least electronic stabilization in this phone if you can include optical stabilization, because having a phone that's very camera centric with no 4K stabilization doesn't really make too much sense. And the camera application itself has a few weird quirks. Like for example, the camera viewfinder keeps dimming to actually likely save battery life every few minutes, and the fact that the volume button is the quick launch button for the camera and not the power button like every single other phone, it doesn't make much sense. And while it's great to have so many features built into the main camera application, there are a lot of them that are just kind of thrown in and half-baked that make the overall user interface a bit more complex than it actually needs to be. But besides these generally small annoyances, the experience is overall pretty solid. It's not the perfect overall phone or the best everyday phone camera, which I'd still give to the Pixel 2 or the iPhone 10, but no other device offers this many advanced but easy to use camera abilities in one app, making it a very versatile photo taking experience. I had a ton of fun shooting this video with talented growing tech YouTuber Tassif Hussain, who makes some incredible videos including a vlog all about our experience at the launch event for the Huawei P20 Pro.
So is it true what the rumors that they say?
What are the rumors?
80% of your diet is avocados.
It's actually 83%.
Okay, 83%.
We also both want you to check out the awesomeness of this phone's camera experience for yourself, so we're giving away a brand new Huawei P20 from our awesome friends over at Canada's best mobile carrier, TELUS. The P20 doesn't have the 3 camera setup but still features 2 high quality shooters plus all the incredible software features and modes for the camera. To enter, it's extremely easy, just basically subscribe to both of our channels, retweet the tweet in the video description, and follow us on Twitter so you know who wins in about a week or two. All the links and in-depth contest details in the description. Let me know your thoughts on what you think is the perfect smartphone camera setup in the comments down below, and thank you for watching.